So you're listening to Breath Play Happy Hour. Good day, happy day, good morning, good afternoon, depending where you're at. Our intention is for you to learn and practice how the breath can guide you to wake up, relax, and let go so you can shift your success and happiness in life, love, business, sports, and beyond. I'm your host, Roberto Suarez, a happy coach, founder of Breath Play Coaching. So before we get going, let's take a deep breath so we can relax and perhaps transform our life today with our unbelievable guest, and I'll be introducing her shortly. So we're going to do a sigh of relief. You're already used to that. Your body is, but the way we do it is we inhale like 2 seconds in the nose, and then we exhale through the mouth. So let's do that a few times. So ready? Here we go. Inhale, then let it go and relax. Inhale for 2 seconds. Exhale, and let it go. A couple more times. Inhale. One more time, taking in deep. And let it go. Close your eyes. Notice how you're feeling. So I think we're ready to go. So today we have Joann Moore, who is the life and breath coach who shows you how to use your breath to bring you calm in the moment when you need it most. It's a simple practice that can be easily learned. And because you breathe every day, I love this. You don't have to purchase any equipment. That's such a simple, that is so, I love that introduction that you sent me, So welcome to Breath Play Happy Hour.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So I don't know, to get started, can you just tell us a little bit about your breath story, like how you define breathwork, how did you start, working with the breath, and how the breath can be meditation in the moment when you need it most. Just go ahead and let us know.
Well, it can be a meditation in the moment simply by doing what you did when you started, is just paying attention for 1 full minute of how you're breathing can induce such calm in any situation. Hope you can. My cat's purring in the background. But I started quite inadvertently. I was having reactions to medication, and it was causing stress and anxiety, panic attacks, and I was trying to work and I couldn't. I had gone through a number of other practices, including meditation. But in running a small restaurant, you can't wander off in the middle of the day and do meditation. So one of the gentlemen I was following for the meditations introduced breathwork in one of his meditations, and that just tickled me pink. It was like literally a breath of fresh air, and it induced such calm in that moment that I have to explore this further. And of course, some of the other people that I've come across, some do very in-depth practices, some use music, some use different kinds of scenarios, some are at it for an hour, some are at it for 2 hours. So what I did was I just adapted it to use in the moment when I needed it most, and I found a shorter inhale and a longer exhale helps the calming process a lot better.
Wow. It's that, that's so true. But what I love about your breath story, it's like you're a business owner in a stress, day to day, every day. You have to be putting attention to what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And whatever is going on with you, you have to be able to let it go.
Yeah.
So to be able to, like, take it on, learn something to calm you down so you can get rid of the anxiety and be clear. It just translates to better customer service or having better energy. Be happier when you're like in a restaurant. You have to be happy all the time.
Yeah, whether you want to or not.
At least that's what at least the customers think, right? That when you're like serving them and everything. And
Yeah,
I guess, and you had the restaurant for a long time?
almost 20 years.
20? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
So, and how did that, the breath, like when, oh, look here, the cat, it's a white cat. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's my lover dover here.
Oh my God. They love
Oh,
breathing, by the way.
he's a big sucky. He's
Yeah.
always near me.
Yeah. So, when you started like being able to breathe in the moment in the restaurant,
Mhm.
how, how did that affect your service and your like how your life basically when you were
Well,
able to do that?
yeah, I didn't realize, the extra stress the medication was causing inside my body
Uh-huh.
until somebody pointed it out, right? It always takes a third person to tell you, like, you're freaking out. I'm like, no, I'm not. So, yes, you are. No, I'm not. So, but the first thing I had to do is be aware of that initial feeling when it started, because your body has its own memory,
Uh-huh.
and your mind will tell you one thing, your body will tell you something else entirely. So putting the two together helped me figure out what was going on. And as soon as I started feeling that knot starting in my body,
Mm-hmm.
I just like, okay, stop, breathe. But what I figured out was when that knot started, I was also holding my breath.
Ah.
So when I started holding my breath, what I do now is I breathe out first. So I let that all go, and then I start with a short breath in, longer breath out, and then I started adding sounds as the time went on. I started playing with the short and the long, and then I started adding little sounds as I was going through my day. So I would be pouring coffee, and making sounds, and the sound reverberates in through your chest
Mm.
and actually induces calm while
Mm.
you're doing it. So it's not just about the breathing and the connection that way, but it's also about creating the vibrational calm when you're making those sounds. I'm not talking about screaming at the top of your lungs. That's not going to help.
So you were doing this in a restaurant?
Yeah, I was doing that in the restaurant, and
Yeah.
some of the customers were just like, "What the heck are you doing?" And others were just giggling along with me, you know. And so everybody had a different reaction, but the bottom line was that everybody was happy, and that
Whoa.
made a big difference.
Wow.
Even the staff noticed a difference. So it's not just about how you're doing, it's about the vibrations that you're giving out around you, and if you get these connections in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's why people say if you want to uh, shift your environment, you have to shift yourself first, right? But it's the internal uh, shifting or pivoting that you
Yeah.
have to do either physically, mentally, emotionally. I guess you had them all going at one time. Uh, how's that medication? Did you start reducing your medication and?
I actually ended up going off the medication altogether because I just couldn't, the side effects weren't just about the panic attacks, there were other things involved, and I just decided that my health was more important. And I've had other repercussions since. I've lost 90% of my vision because I didn't take the medication, but
Mhm.
I'm a lot healthier.
Yeah. Wow. what a story.
Yeah.
Like, so, and so is that the only breaths that you do, or how much do you practice? Like, for the people out there that never really, have never heard of breath work and how you can apply it and all that. Uh, do you practice it every day? What's your program like?
I do vary it up a little bit, but I do continue to make noises, and I do practice anywhere from 3 to 6 times a day, depending on what else is going on. But the two that I never give up are in the morning and in the evening as I'm falling asleep. I do different ones in the morning, and there's a couple different ones you can do to get yourself invigorated. If I find myself lagging in the middle of the afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
I do a specific practice in through the mouth and out through the mouth. It just gets the oxygen going and gets the blood pumping, and then you
Mm-hmm.
just all of a sudden you have more energy and you can get more work done. But if you turn on the computer in the morning and you get a little surprise, you're like, the first thing you do is you hold your breath. I'm like, okay, breathe out. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, I got this, right? And then as you're breathing out too, you can remind yourself this is something you've been through before and you've managed to survive it before. So when you're breathing out, I've done this before. This is okay.
Mm.
Yeah, I can do this. This isn't something new. This isn't life threatening. It's just a little glitch. It's a little bump in the road. I'm okay.
Wow.
And you can remind yourself every time you breathe, I'm okay.
Mm. So I love how you're bringing in positive uh, affirmation, you know, to bring that into your breath. And
Yeah.
and also what I'm hearing you say is when you use that exhale to let go,
Mm-hmm.
and that helps when you breathe out and you relax and you let go. That's how you're able to release,
Yeah.
because you're not resisting. Like when you were saying that you were holding your breath and not breathing, so
Mm-hmm.
you're holding all that stuff in your body or in your mind, and you can't let it go.
Yeah.
So you're actually using the side of relief, which is
Mm-hmm.
probably what like the basic breath. The side of relief is a normal. The body is doing it to help you let go, but
Yeah.
you're doing it intentionally,
Yes.
and using all the things to help you even more, like the singing, and the bringing the affirmations in,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm okay, I'm happy, whatever, you bring it in, and it's just, it's like so simple.
It is.
it,
That's it.
and I'm becoming conscious,
Yes.
like about it, and that intentionality of being able to like stop in the moment, that whatever's shown up in your body, and be able to use the breath to support you in releasing and shifting,
Yeah.
like, so if you're not conscious and you're too much in your mind and going through the stuff, and like I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you were for many years, and it
Yeah.
just got worse, worse and worse and worse, because
Yeah.
we didn't know, and unfortunately we have to wait, like, until something drastic starts happening,
Yeah.
and years of medication or whatever it is, and sometimes one day, you say, okay, I need to, and you're one of the lucky ones,
Yeah.
right, that you were able to look at that and be able to, shift your reality by, exploring, meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and breath. what what do you say the difference between meditation and breathing is?
I think with the breathing, you're more aware. I don't know about how other people meditate.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
when I
yeah,
meditate, I
yeah.
tend to not feel my body. Like I actually, everything becomes one. So I can't, when I get into a really good meditation, I can't tell the difference between my feet, the floor, the chair, my arms.
Mm,
I know I'm there,
yeah.
but I can't, there's no separation. When I'm breathing, I feel just as connected,
Hmm.
but I don't feel as melded. Does that make sense? I'm not sure how
Yeah,
to.
yeah. It's almost, people say like there's different, definitions, and but I was just getting your take,
Yeah.
and what you're saying, it's when you meditate, it's like to be mindful and get to a state of almost nothingness, you know,
In a way, yeah.
like, and to connect to the energy and
Mhm.
be. The I would say, the difference, with the breath, that to me is a meditation because you're giving attention to the breath,
Mhm.
but it's a but you're also being more conscious, and you're taking control, and you're acting, and you're making, like it's more, it's it's like you're actually controlling the you become the the source, like you take over.
I was just gonna say that my sometimes my heart just feels happy. Like it I don't know how to explain that. It feels like my heart wants to burst open and just like a Care Bear and just shoot a rainbow out to like everyone.
Yeah, and
you know.
so,
Yeah.
so to me, I always say it's an active meditation,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
it's also a way to get into like really deep meditation,
Yeah.
like after you let go of all the stuff that's going on, and it's a way to calm, to go,
Absolutely.
and then to calm, and then go, really slow the breath down, and
Mhm.
then as you slow down the breath, you become more, and then just let the breath take you, and connect more and more to the silence, to the energy, and then it's easier to get into that space if you do
Yeah.
some breath work, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so I love that you do the practice, 3-6 times a day, because that supports you
It
in,
does. You know what? It's
in
and
getting, what is that's, people say, man, I don't have the time, like da da da, but it's the funny part about that is I tell people, do you breathe the whole day? And they go, yeah. And I go, well, the only thing is that for 6 times or 5 times or 3 times, you're going to do it consciously,
yeah.
so you can do it doing whatever you're doing, which is what I love about what you're doing, that you're doing it right into like your life, like your business, your game. Your
Yeah.
game was the restaurant business, and you
Yeah.
were doing it and healing, and as you worked. That's like,
Mhm.
you should write a
That that
movie, about
that
that. That's
that
like,
was the best part. I know I had somebody actually say, "Well, I don't have time." I'm like, "Really? You don't have time to breathe?"
yeah.
Well, that's not what I meant. Great. How much time do you spend on your phone?
Hmm.
And people are always like, well, I don't have time. Really? How much time do you spend just scrolling on your phone, responding to messages that you don't really need to respond to?
Yeah,
You know, or looking for an argument on your phone when you're scrolling through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
Are you looking for something to get irritated about? Put your phone down, breathe,
yeah.
stare at a tree, breathe. There's a huge difference there.
Hmm. Yeah. And, and even if you're just looking at the phone, breathe. What I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, exactly. If I figure Anybody that says, well, I don't have time. Yeah, well, if I can run a restaurant on a Sunday morning and practice my breathing,
Hmm.
you don't have any excuse at all, ever.
Wow.
Right?
And how many people worked in your restaurant, you know?
Yeah. Well, it was a pretty small
Yeah.
restaurant, but I mean, on a Sunday morning, we would have between 4 and 6 extra staff members. So
Yeah,
yeah.
there you go. So you
Yeah.
still had to deal with, people and then the clients and your staff and making sure the
Mhm.
food was right.
Yeah.
So it's so great. I hope people are listening, right? That you can integrate
Yes.
breath work, or in my case, I call it breath play,
Yeah.
right? So it's like
I do
play.
too.
You can take the breath and play with it in whatever you're doing. And it's so great that that you're an entrepreneur, business owner, in a very service oriented business that
Mhm.
you have to deal with people all the time, and you have to be able to deal with yourself,
Yeah.
because of the stress and everything that's going on. And it's, I don't know, I guess, usually it's 7-day business or 6-day, and
Mhm.
that's unbelievable, dealing with, when you have to deal with people all day, it's,
And that's the other side of it too. People are like, well, yeah, well, you only need to deal with them at a few minutes at a time. Yes, but how many a few minutes at a time?
mm-hmm,
It's not like, when you go into an office, for instance, you deal with the same dozen people or
yeah,
less
yeah,
every day.
mm-hmm,
You are often on the phone with the same people every day. But
mm-hmm,
when you're running a restaurant, you're not, you have your regulars, especially in a small town like this.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's also a tourist town, so you have a multitude of other people coming in
mm-hmm,
regularly.
yeah,
And if you, I mean, think about it for yourself. If you walk into a restaurant and you get greeted with a hey,
uh,
are you going to want to go back to that?
are
No,
you hungry
probably not.
today? Are you hungry today?
So, you know, it gives you the opportunity to learn how to deal with so many different people on so many different levels. And that's where the coaching came in. It's one of the best experiences I ever had was dealing with people.
Hmm.
And I just, I met so many different kinds of people from pretty much, I'm not going to say every country in the world, but a
Yeah.
great number of countries in the world,
Hmm.
and yeah, learning, there was, I was trying to remember who it was. Somebody was trying to barter with me one time and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I found out later on that's what they do in their country. When you give them the price, they barter. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, is that what was going on? Oops.
Okay.
You know, so a learning experience, right?
Yeah.
But that was really cool. I'm like, I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah.
Because
Well.
in the US and Canada, we set our prices, and there's not a
Yeah.
lot of bartering going on after that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, so you were able to use the breath to heal yourself, right? And
Hmm.
and then apply it in your business, that it helps your business to
Yeah.
get better service. So usually it's better results,
Hmm.
right? And make people happy. So you're like the epitome of what the breath, supposed to do, right? It's it's to to wake up, to let go, right? To take charge,
Hmm.
so you can, attain a life or a business that is worth doing.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable, like example for people that might be listening.
Yeah.
But so for somebody that is young, like the young people today, right?
Hmm.
Maybe, or like let's say if you were a 21-year-old again, what advice would you give them?
Oh, slow down.
Uh,
That's the biggest thing. I mean, I know I did that a lot when I was a kid too. It's just go, 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 do. But I mean, you have the energy, and often you have a little bit more, um, and well, energy, I guess. But when you're a kid, you want to experiment with everything, and I think that's a really good idea. But I would also recommend in your experimentations, take time to feel what you're doing. And yeah, I guess
Yeah, well, that's a biggie to be able to feel it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I should probably check my notes. I had something written down for that. But yeah, and but take time for yourself, because that was one of the things I noticed too when I was younger, that I was always doing for others and
mm,
doing very little for myself.
mm,
And that became a habit, and I actually ended up carrying that with me for a great number of years. So somewhere in the line, in the middle there, yeah, take time for yourself.
mm.
Enjoy, experiment, absolutely.
Yeah,
And then, but find time for just you know,
absolutely.
yeah.
And and if I would add there is learn as much as you can about the breath. You know,
Yes.
because it's gonna. If I would have known, like all the different breath techniques
Yeah.
and everything about the breath, and I was an athlete, so I played three sports, and I did mouth breathing.
Yeah.
I like nobody ever told me about how to really use the nose to support you in getting
Wow.
more energy, cleaner energy, expand it to be able to relax so you
Hmm.
can last longer. I thought you just when you're running real fast and then you put oxygen. And wow, it took me a long time to start healing, using the breath. I didn't pick it up until like I was past 50.
No, I was too, actually.
Yeah.
Um, but I was also a shallow breather. I
Hmm.
wasn't a very deep breather.
Yeah, shallow
Uh,
breath. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
and but I did breathe through my nose. But sometimes people couldn't hear me breathing,
Mm.
and they would actually ask me if I was breathing. I'm like, yeah, I just don't breathe that deep. Once I got into the breathing and learned the difference between belly breathing and lung breathing,
Uh,
that expands your breath. And people are like, oh, so you're like a little chubby Buddha. And I'm like, Buddha had a big belly because he was a big belly breather, not because he was fat.
yeah, well, the belly breathing is one of the key, breath techniques,
Hmm.
right? Because when you expand the belly, you're actually contracting the diaphragm, and then when you
Hmm.
bring the belly in, you're expanding. So you're using the diaphragm. Most people, if you're a shallow breather, you're not using that muscle, which is what expands your lungs and contracts your lungs.
Hmm.
So the more you can do belly breathing and practice, the more air you're going to bring in, the better you're going to feel.
Yeah.
And so if there's, I know that you explained it, but if there's one breath that somebody uh, need to, let's say, practice every day, right? Which breath would you tell them to practice, and perhaps maybe show them how it's done?
Um, if you only have time for one,
Right,
which, you know, obviously you don't because you breathe all day long. However,
right, yeah.
the one I would recommend the most is the 4-7-1.
Mm.
And what that is in for 4, out for 7, and then pause for a second before you start your inhale. And this one I actually use most at night when if my mind won't stop and I need to sleep.
Okay.
That's my one I use at night. But you can also use it in the middle of the day,
Hmm.
because it doesn't put you to sleep, but it
Yeah.
does relax you.
Mm.
So if you find yourself around lunchtime, you're freaking out because the morning went crazy, your computer wasn't working, whatever, um, that's the one you can start. And yeah, if you want, we can do it now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so just breathe out first, because everybody's holding their breath. And then breathe in for 4. And then breathe out for 7 through your mouth. And pause for 1 little second. Breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 7. Pause. Breathe in. Breathe out for 7. Want to do one more?
Yeah, one more.
Okay, breathe in for 4. Breathe out for 7. And a little pause. And then breathe normally.
Wow, that's awesome. That you're breathing in life energy for 4 seconds, and then you're releasing all that and releasing whatever you need to for 7, and that's helping to also you become more adaptable to CO2,
Mm-hmm.
which is good for your blood,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that's awesome. Awesome technique. I hope people can practice that. I went into really calm state there pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
And
Yeah,
that's exactly the point. It happens and this is the thing when people say they don't have time to practice. It takes less than a minute to induce that calm.
yeah, absolutely.
Within 30 seconds you'll feel it. Within a minute you'll be, what the heck was I freaking out about? And then just
Yeah.
carry on. You know.
So I guess we cover a lot, and we also this was great because you come from a small business entrepreneurship challenge, and how you can use it. So it's awesome because that's exactly what people need to do, right? And
Yeah.
and eventually not only bring it to yourself but to your teams,
Yes.
because that'll help everybody be able to calm, and the more calm and clear you are, the more creative you become,
Mm-hmm.
and better conversations, right? And hopefully there's more cooperation, and there's better results, especially if you have teams.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. In that breath, it's great because you can do that quickly, and get people calm down. So
Mm-hmm.
so so how so if you got something out of today, you can get hold. How can they get hold of you, Joann? If how do people can get hold of you? What's the easiest way? If they want
The
to talk to
easiest
you.
the easiest way to probably catch me on through email at breath to lifecoaching@gmail.com, or Facebook or Instagram, and just say I want to breathe, because I get so many messages. I don't mean to discourage people, but I get so many messages from people who are just looking for a relationship.
Yeah.
Um, like,
Oh my
sorry, I'm
goodness.
in one. But if you just send me a message with I want to breathe, and on either Facebook, Instagram, and or
Under your name? Under your name?
under my name. Yep,
Okay.
Joann, no E, Moore is my last name, Joann Moore.
Oh, okay. Great. Awesome. And I just want to thank all the listeners that were here today. And you can always write into a happy coach and tell us, suggest anything that we could do to support you
Yeah.
in the future. And, we're also available, and, catch us in the next Breath Play Happy Hour. And I hope today was a happy hour for you. It was definitely for me.
Awesome. I had fun. Thank you so much.
It was great. And is there anything else you want to add, Joann?
Just, yeah, always, once an hour, take a minute to breathe and play with it
Uh,
because it's there, it's free, and it's always available.
yeah, awesome, awesome. Breathe happy, live happy. Breathe calm, live calm. So that was great, great, good stuff. I love this. Thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time and being with our listeners, and we'll catch you next time. And
Absolutely. Thank
have a
you.
happy day, everybody.
For now.
Bye. Okay. Good recording.